How's that? Okay, that's really weird. Um, hmm. I don't know why that was. This computer's been doing some really weird stuff with these microphones the last couple of days, and with the storms going as they have, I haven't really had an opportunity to sit down and really identify what's going on there. So I apologize for any audio issues that happen now and in the near future. But yeah, not sure what was going on there. But as I was saying, we're going to do things a little bit differently here. We are going to start here at the storm desk. Obviously, those storms are not here yet, but I want to give you a little more lead time with these, especially, I have the time and I can give you a little more context early on. And then once the storms start to impact our area, we'll switch gears. I'll take a quick break and then we'll be in front of the green screen. So you'll still get the usual severe weather coverage that you expect, but I wanted to give you just a quick chance to kind of see what's headed our way before it arrives. So we have these storms stretching from Stephenville down through Hamilton and Goldthwaite. So something that I want to point out is that not only do we have the severe thunderstorm warnings, we do have a flash flood warning here stretching from Hamilton down to the southwest. So there is some concern there about flooding. And I mean, you can see the way that this storm approaching Hamilton has kind of trained over that same area with a lot of heavy rain. That is really the cause of that. And if we look at this severe thunderstorm warning here, this is just for until 4:30. This is just for 1-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. Pretty run-of-the-mill warning. However, this one is a little bit bigger, so half-dollar size hail to the southwest, and looks like that storm in particular, looks like that's doing a little bit of a right turn with that. So we'll take a look at the winds here. Actually, you know what? Let's get the... Yeah, so we got some winds in that storm as well, winds that are picking up. But obviously, these are farther away from our area. They're not quite here yet. And so these one of the couple of these storms were more intense earlier this afternoon when we were looking at some of these storms pushing some of those more intense attributes of those storms, 70-mile-per-hour winds, golf ball size hail, that kind of thing. Had one of those earlier. However, they've weakened since then, is what I'll say there. And we have, as you've probably figured out, if you've been outside for any length of time today, a lot of humidity and a very, very unstable atmosphere. A severe thunderstorm watch is in place until 10 p.m. So part of the good news here is that I don't expect this to be a real late night thing. Kind of like last night, I don't expect it to be too late at night. I think that we'll mostly be looking at things being wrapped up fairly quickly. So I apologize. Let me move the radar around here. Okay. So as this storm gets closer, I am expecting, let's actually pull up. See, let me get that off of there. So let's just kind of take a look at timing here. And really, I mean, it's pretty much going to be the same expectation in terms of the timing that we talked about before. So starting around 5 o'clock. So 5, that's 5 o'clock, that's 6, 7, 8, and then what's interesting, and we'll go back to the last run for this, but that's 5 o'clock. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then, yeah, and by 9, 10 o'clock, looks like everything should be out of here. So that's the good news. Now, the bad news is that these storms are coming in when we still have daytime heating. So plenty of instability, plenty of intensity with these storms. Now, we are looking at these storms being more of a complex at this point. So they are moving in kind of in a group, and that should help to limit at least some of the tornado threat that we're looking at. We're not under a tornado watch today. That was reserved for Oklahoma, so that's farther to our north. But what we're looking at in our particular area is a severe thunderstorm watch And we could have some pretty intense storms through this whole process here. So, we're going to have to keep an eye on all of this as we go forward over the next several hours here. But again, by 9, 10 o'clock, this should be out of here. Thank you, Ricky, for your Venmo donation. Greatly appreciated there. Always appreciate the generosity. Never feel worthy of it, but, I appreciate the generosity. So as all of this continues to move northeastward, again, 5, 6 o'clock, so I would say from Cleburne down to Hillsboro, that area, you're looking closer to 5 o'clock. Waxahachie, Corsicana, maybe closer to 6 o'clock before this is all moving in. A question about the cap. I guess the cap is non-existent today. Is any weakening likely as they move east? Not really, no. I'm not expecting any severe or any of the severe weather to weaken as it gets closer. If anything, it may intensify. Because if we look at something, I want to show you, and it always comes up so small on Radar Omega, unfortunately. But dew points out here where the storms are now are in the, upper 60s. And dew points are in the upper 70s, mid to upper 70s here. And so, I expect these storms to only intensify as they move eastward. Debbie Ingram Waxman, you're asking about wind speeds. I'm assuming you're asking what kind of wind speeds we're expecting with storms. I can't tell you specifically anything, but we can tell you that, storms with wind speeds of in excess of 60 to 70 miles per hour are possible. We have a severe thunderstorm watch. That means that in our area, winds in excess of 58 miles per hour are possible with any storm. But, it's hard to tell you anything specific right now because the storm is not actually here yet. Just trying to get my phone to act right here. And thank you, Miranda, for your Cash App donation. Greatly appreciated there. Missed that. And let's see. Thank you, Robin, for your Venmo donation. Greatly appreciated there as well. So these storms, and I will show you the severe thunderstorm watch as well. Severe thunderstorm watch all the way from Waco to the Red River here. So plenty of our area is covered by this severe thunderstorm watch that runs until 10 o'clock. And so by 10 o'clock, presumably, we will be able to pretty much knock out most of this out of our area. So that's the good news. It's not going to be too late at night. But as I say, 5, 6 o'clock is probably going to be, I think I would still stick with 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock being the most active in our area. So starting in our particular area around 5 or 6 o'clock and then exiting by 9 or 10. Not too bad a deal. Looks like these storms are going to move out of here fairly quickly. Another thing that's interesting compared to what we've been watching is that the models had a complex of storms moving in from the west, more from the Abilene area, and then all of this coming in from the southwest. What we actually ended up seeing is all the activity to the southwest blew up first, and then we're not seeing much from, due west of our area. So looks like it's going to be this activity from the southwest that moves in. This should have assuming that it continues to congeal into a line, I think that we should probably see a lower probability overall of tornadoes in our area. So that's a positive. Natalie, thank you so much for the Cash App donation. Greatly appreciate that. So Michelle, you ask, will we still have storms moving in tomorrow? Yes, it does look like we have storms planned for tomorrow, and we can take a quick look at that before all of this gets here. Let's see. Let's pull up the model here. I want to pull up the latest long-term HR run. So that's tonight. Again, 7, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. See, that's what it showed earlier. It had the storms moving in from the west and then from the southwest later tonight. Not the way it ended up going. But tomorrow, for Sunday, does show storms. Now, what's interesting is the HR model shows this mostly staying north of us, and that does track with what the Storm Prediction Center has for tomorrow. But they do have the slight risk stretching farther south. The NAM model does show storms farther south, so we will have to kind of keep an eye on tomorrow and see what that does. It looks like we could have a few scattered showers and storms. The NAM model has it earlier in the day too, so the two models are kind of arguing with each other at this point. Matthew, thank you so much for the Venmo donation, and Christina, thank you for the Cash App donation. Greatly appreciated there. So that's tomorrow. So yeah, more storms possible tomorrow. More storms possible on Monday. For Monday, we are looking at a slight risk of severe weather just north of the Metroplex. Really from the northern part of the Metroplex up into Missouri is an enhanced risk for Monday. And then for Tuesday, looks like Tuesday it's east of us. So we actually may be able to pull the storm chances off of Tuesday and just keep them to Monday. I would not mind. I have a lot I need to get done next week. So having a little bit of a break would be wunderbar. So I know there's a lot of folks that just joined in, so just give us a few moments and we'll be filling you in, trust me. And thank you so much, Stephen, for the Venmo donation. Greatly appreciated. So all of this activity continuing to move on to the northeast, and I'm sure in Johnson County you're starting to hear this, right? And just so everybody knows, this is kind of we're giving you kind of a lead time here. This is a little bit of a preliminary coverage. I'll be in front of the green screen for the main event, right? So don't worry about it. Don't worry if you don't like this format as much as it's easier for my back. I know that when you're actually dealing with severe weather and that kind of thing, a lot of people I think like me in front of the green screen. It's easier to see that sort of thing. So we will do that. Kevin, you're asking, does the risk Monday look to be in the evening heading on a motorcycle trip? So yeah, I mean, it looks like Monday is going to be another kind of afternoon and evening event. And that's mostly when that happens in our area, because that's when we have our peak heating, right? So that does look to be the case there. So I think we had a question about Rowlett. Let's see. Let me go back. I think I missed something. Mary, where will they cancel the 7:30 performance at Chautauqua tonight due to weather? I would imagine it will impact it. I'm not too sure what the plan is there. Not sure what they're planning there, but I would imagine it would be impacted. Anna, you asked when will it hit Rowlett? We are up there playing softball. I would say the Rowlett area again is going to be 5-6 o'clock, maybe closer to 6 or 7 o'clock there in Rockwall County. That would be my guess. Yeah, no. See, I'm looking at a map here and it says rain. Why do you got to put Kane's Chicken in front of me? That's just mean. Sounds really good right now. So we got a question from Mirari about Weatherford. I mean, Weatherford, you're far enough to the west. I think most of this may miss you in that area. I think most of the intense storms are going to be south of you. So Weatherford, I'm a little less concerned about at this point than really anybody else. So now Weatherford, you are in that enhanced risk. However, the way that this is working together at the moment, I do think that we're probably not looking at too much of a risk for the Weatherford area. And Eddie James, you're asking about Mesquite. I mean, it's going to be the same thing, from about the same thing as Rowlett, right? So about 6 or 7 o'clock probably before it's in that area. Mesquite, Dallas, Mesquite, Rockwall, that kind of thing. Adrienne, looks like we're looking at about, for Midlothian, I would venture to say about 6 o'clock probably for that area as far as when it's hitting Ellis County. So lots of people asking about their town. So let me just tell you that I mean we're pretty much covering this covers everybody. So if you're watching, just know that for our area, if you're in Johnson or Hill County, you're looking at closer to 5, 6 o'clock. Ellis and Navarro County is probably closer to 6 or 7 o'clock. That's just kind of my guess. So, Tammy, the tornado risk that we're looking at here, it looks. Thank you, Patty, for your Venmo donation. The tornado risk at this point doesn't look that great, and part of the reason for that is that we're looking at more of a line of storms rather than individual storms. Those are generally going to bring a higher likelihood of severe weather. Now, Katie, you're asking about hail chances. Yeah, I mean we're looking at hail in these storms already, and I would say that we could probably be looking at. I would say the greatest risk for our area is probably going to be, what do I want to say here? I have to think about it because with those individual storms, that's going to have the larger risk for hail. But with this set of storms specifically, I would say I would be concerned mostly about maybe topping out around golf ball size. Now, that's not to say we can't get bigger than that, but that's kind of what I'm thinking in terms of that. So let me get caught up here. Stephen Rainey, thank you so much for your donation. Stephen Rainey with Synergy Roofing there. You heard a lot of I heard a lot about guys, walking around, knocking on doors in Midlothian and some of the concerns with that. But here's the thing. Synergy Roofing doesn't do that. They're not going to wake you up on a Saturday morning with a knock on the door, trying to get on your roof. So you can call them and they'll get you set up. But they're not these guys that are going to be in your space early on a weekend morning after a late storm. So let's see. Let me get caught up. Robert Alvarez, you're asking about Arlington and Arlington Mansfield time. Again, it's going to be about the same. We're looking probably about 6 o'clock for that area. And JD Cobb, you're glad your brisket is almost done there in Corsicana. So that sounds pretty fantastic. Anissa Williamson, you're asking about Alvarado. Again, we're looking at about 5 to 6 o'clock in Johnson County. So it's about 4:15 now. So between 4 and 5 o'clock, I would say, for Johnson County. That's kind of the timeline that I'm looking at there. Andrew Johnson, you had 5 people a day knocking on the door after that bad wind and hailstorm back in March. Oh, I'm sure. I am absolutely sure. I'm sure that was wild. For the Waco area, somebody asking about that. I would say for Waco, I mean everything looks to be tracking north of Waco at this. Well, I say that. This storm west of Gatesville looks like it could be tracking more due east. So with that being the case, the Waco area, you could be getting a storm here in the next couple of hours. So that will be kind of the focus there. But again, like I said, Johnson and Hill counties here looking at between 5 and 6 o'clock. Ellis and Navarro counties looking more kind of 6 to 7 o'clock. So that's just kind of our timeline here as far as what to expect in those areas. Let me catch up here because I know there's a lot of folks asking about their town. So I'm trying to find the best general way because I don't have time to go town by town. I'm trying to find the best way to talk generally here. Let me say this. So again, the west side of the area. So again, from Fort Worth to Cleburne, Hillsborough, Waco, we're looking probably 5 to 6. From Dallas to Waxahachie to Corsicana, probably looking 6 to 7 o'clock. So that's generally what we're looking at. It does, yes, Shay does look to be moving towards the Ennis area. Grant, yes, moving towards Red Oak. So that's what we're looking at as far as this is concerned. Trace Medlock saying, checked on customers' home this morning in Midlothian, and 20 cars pulled up with 4 in each vehicle. Started beating on people's doors before 9 a.m. Yeah, I mean, I've when the that March 8th storm came through, I was doing some damage surveying over in the Garden Valley neighborhood in Waxahachie, and there were 4 trucks all lined up that pulled over to the side, and I swear 4 or 5 people poured out of every single one, and they fanned out. And that was in the afternoon. That was in the afternoon hours after there had already been multiple roofing companies already in that area. So it's definitely, folks have definitely been inundated today, especially in the Midlothian area. I've been hearing it and seeing it all day. Hey, Abel, good to see you back in the chat here. All right, so we're getting a new severe thunderstorm warning here, including Hood and Somervell counties. So that storm making its way our direction right now. That's kind of what we're seeing. And yep, so there's that new severe thunderstorm warning. That includes a small sliver of Somervell County, and then moving into Hood County. Swim Fishing saying, please turn the sound up. I mean, is anybody having trouble with the sound? Is it too quiet? If anything, I'm trying to keep it from clipping. So, yeah, I mean, lots of questions about hail. We are expecting hail to be at least possible with these storms. It'd be a reasonable expectation to expect hail with all of this activity, the way that it's moving in. And so, these storms, again, we have plenty. You've gone outside and you felt it. We have plenty of humidity out there, very high dew points. We have plenty of instability in the air. I mean, there's really nothing stopping these storms. So I know that there's a lot of folks who are looking for any explanation possible to say, hey, and Kelsey, yes, I see your comment. I'm getting there. Hail is definitely possible. And with these storms, I mean, they have every opportunity to intensify as they go forward here. And so, yeah, I mean, we're definitely seeing the possibility of very intense storms in our area, and large hail is possible. I would say a reasonable expectation is golf ball size hail. I'm not saying it can't go bigger than that, but I think that that's probably what we will see from most of those stronger storms today. And Laura, let me get caught up on some comments here. Laura, I won't do an app because when people, number one, it's very expensive. Two, an app, people want the forecast in there, and usually the forecast has to be automated because I can't update it 24/7. I won't do an app with an automated forecast because that's a computer reading forecast models, and it's not going to read them correctly most of the time. So I'm not going to put my name and my brand on something I can't rely on, and I don't want you to look at the app and then look at the website and say, why are these forecasts different? I don't want a computer speaking for me, is another way to say that. So, okay. Let's see. Yeah, so I know there's a lot of new people that are just jumping in, and so we have these storms here. I mean, you can see the way they're moving. Pick yourself on the map, and you can see that the storms are pretty well headed our way. I mean, there's not really a way to avoid that. I would say all of our area is expecting these storms tonight. I don't really see any reasonable expectation that any part of our area won't get these storms. Large hail is possible, damaging winds possible. We could see a tornado or two, although the tornado threat does look a little bit lower, especially now that we're looking at more of a line coming through. But we are looking at that possibility being decent here. It's going to be Johnson County and Hill County between about 5 and 6 o'clock. Ellis and Navarro counties closer to 6 and 7 o'clock. So that's what we're expecting in terms of these areas. I know everybody's looking for an ETA. Hopefully that covered you and took care of that question. So let's see. Let me get caught up in some comments here. So again, like I said, Johnson County, Navarro, or Johnson County, Hill County, down towards the Waco area, up to Fort Worth, 5 to 6, and then 6 to 7. We're looking at from Dallas to Waxahachie to Navarro, or to Corsicana. So that's what we're looking at. Sorry, 1 second, folks. One question: do these storms push the humidity out, or is it staying put? So, I mean, the humidity, I don't expect that to change. The humidity, honestly, unfortunately, likely is not going to change until we get to. I know we have a front coming through Tuesday, so somewhere around Monday or Tuesday. So it may take that front moving in to finally bring some drier air in here. Tomorrow, unfortunately, looks very, very humid as well. So tomorrow, if you're going to be out and about, you will want to take care of yourself and stay hydrated. Yeah, so it looks like we have pretty humid air kind of just hanging around from now until about Tuesday. It looks like Tuesday morning, through the day Tuesday, we will have a lower dew points. So next week looks great after we get past Monday, but lower dew points at that point. Lower dew points at that time, I'll say. Dana, you're asking about Oklahoma. You're way far away from where I'm covering here, but you have basically Oklahoma's going to have its own storms up in that area. In fact, there are storms already in the Oklahoma area there. So this storm here isn't really what's going to hit Oklahoma. There's a storm near, let's see, where is that? I'm looking on a different view here. A storm southwest of Norman. That's really the only one right now, maybe one smaller one towards Durant. But Oklahoma will have its own set of storms. These are in north central Texas, so not really expecting these storms to hit Oklahoma, but you are expecting storms in that area. Anna, you're asking about planning to go out of town tonight, leaving around 4 a.m. from Ennis to Colorado. Any storms around that time? So not here. I can't speak for, once you get out of this area, but I don't expect any early morning storms in our area. Rocio Diaz, the forecast for, okay, we're getting a fresh round of timeline questions. So let me let a few more of those roll in, and then I'll answer that question again, and we'll kind of cover that. I know we've had a few people asking about Dallas Grapevine area. I do expect these storms to impact Dallas County. So as far as a timeline, I wish I just had this static to where it would just stay on the screen somehow. I'll have to figure out maybe a way to do that. Maybe a pinned comment or something. I'm not sure. So these storms, I'm expecting them in Johnson and Hill counties around 5 to 6 o'clock, Ellis and Navarro counties around 6 to 7 o'clock. Hopefully that answers that question for folks. Kevin Bush, expect these storms to carry through Ellis County with intensity or fizzle it all by then. I do not expect these storms to be weakened by the time they get to Ellis County. I mean, we just have too much instability. I mean, you can go outside and feel it. So, that's what we're looking at. Crystal, I mean, they're pretty much forming into a line already. If you look at the radar, they are already forming a pretty nice little line there. So that it looks like that trend will continue. So yes, I do expect more of a line to move through. Jason Gray, does anything look capable of tornadoes? Like we were saying earlier, we are expecting tornadoes to be possible, but it doesn't look as likely at this point. Don Wilkinson, you're saying that you can't understand anything, it's muffled. I'm not sure. I haven't really heard anyone else. I've heard a few people talk about the audio, but everyone else says it's fine, so I'm not sure what he might be experiencing there. Claudia, I think I can pin a comment. I'll have to check that out here. The only problem is I'm not here to moderate that once I get in front of the green screen, so it'll be a little more tough to pull that as needed. Robbie, are these having high wind like yesterday in the excess of 80 miles per hour? So these particular storms here, none of these are warned for excessive wind at this point, but that's not to say they couldn't be at another time. So we'll see what that does. So let me just kind of show you again. Here's what we're looking at. So we have storms, and it's interesting how these move again. And this may impact the modality of the storms that we see as far as what we're going to expect once these move into our area. One of those, you can see that storm in near Stephenville moving more northward at this point, and then one storm moving almost due east towards Gatesville, almost southeast there towards the Waco area. So yeah, so it looks like as it's moving towards Gatesville. So this could impact whether we see a line of storms or possibly see more individual storms. So that could possibly change as all of this activity goes forward. So Joaquin said, leave the stream and come back. It's a weird YouTube thing with the audio that has solved it for me. So we had the same issue yesterday. There was a problem with a issue with the YouTube audio, and basically people had to do the same thing. They had to leave the stream and come back. So not really sure I don't know what's going on with YouTube, because some people are saying it's fine, some people are saying they can't hear me. So I'm not sure what's going on with YouTube there. I don't really have a recommendation there because it's so sporadic. I mean, I'm looking at Down Detector here, and I don't see any big YouTube issues at this point. So, yeah, I'm really not sure. Brandon Owen, noticing the intensity of hailfall, any radar indicated VIL spikes or CC drops, suggesting potential for larger hailstones or tornadic activity in the core. Brandon, that's a loaded comment. I'm not sure what all you're doing with that, but Radar Omega serves me pretty well. I don't think I need GR2 because we do have correlation coefficient and vertically integrated liquid, so I think we're good to go. Okay, so got a fresh batch of folks asking about timing, so let's just kind of go over that again. Hang on a second. Okay, let's see. Yeah, so here is what we're looking at as far as timing. So for Johnson and Hill counties, closer to about 5 to 6, although I say that, and we're already starting to see some development into Johnson County, so that moves the timeline up a little bit. But essentially, Cleburne to Hillsborough, we're looking at 5 to 6 o'clock. Waxahachie, Corsicana, probably closer to 6 and 7 o'clock. That's kind of my that's kind of my expectation in terms of when to expect these storms. But again, don't get so married to these timelines. People will take a timeline like that and they go, it's going to hit at 6 o'clock, and you can't do that. You have to understand that, especially in a situation like this, those expectations are very fluid. It's, you can have new storms pop up ahead of the main complex, and that can move up your timeline. Or one of these storms can kind of take a different track, and it takes a little longer to get there. So you have to not be so rigid with those timelines, because and I'm not saying anyone here is, I'm saying I've seen that before. And I've seen, on the back end, and I've seen, you said it was going to be here at 6. And I'm going, it's not a buddy that's showing up to your house for dinner. It's these are storms, man. They kind of do their own thing, so you can't be so too concerned. So Chris Andrade, you're asking about Texas Motor Speedway. I have been in communication with them today. So these storms will move through that area, probably closer to about 6 to 7 o'clock. So that's what I have communicated over to them earlier today. So yeah, we're already getting some lightning and thunder out there. Thomas, you're asking about will there be large hail again like yesterday's storm? There could be. I can't tell you for sure that there will be, but there could be. It's just depending on what storm you get, how intense it is, that kind of thing. But hail is a concern with these storms. I'm curious to see what this does, because we have the storm in Erath County that's moving almost due north at this point. So we had somebody watching in Weatherford, so that storm is moving northward towards your area. And then the storm near Gatesville is moving due east. And so the storm moving into Bosque County now might be left all by itself. And that would then increase the possibility of maybe a few tornadoes and very large hail. Because that updraft will be all by itself. It won't be competing with other activity. So, again, these things evolve, and that's why I don't go up here tell you, hey, it's going to be here at this time, have fun. That's why I'm staying on the air, because things change. Hold on a second. Gonna eat a Reese's here before we really get started here. I've had a few people ask about Hillsboro and Churro Fest. Well, I'm expecting these storms around. I have been saying, Hillsboro between 5 and 6 o'clock is when I'm expecting storms there. So if you're at the if you are at Churro Fest right now, then you're going to need to be very careful with that. You're going to need to be careful with the storms that are headed that way. David, the severe weather threat has not diminished. Really no change in the severe weather threat today. So again, as I've been saying, we are looking at from about Cleburne to Hillsboro, 5 to 6 o'clock for your timeline as far as storms are concerned. From Waxahachie to Corsicana, basically Ellis and Navarro counties, we are looking at storms closer to 6 to 7 o'clock. So that's the timeline that we're looking at for this area. And we're gonna shift gears here shortly. We're gonna shift gears shortly, and we'll be in front of the green screen and that kind of thing. We'll take a quick break here and kind of allow me to shift gears. And as these storms are moving in, and that severe weather threat becomes more imminent, then we'll make that adjustment. And so we'll still have the regular coverage that you expect in front of the green screen and all that good stuff. I know there's people in Dallas and Tarrant counties right now. So Tarrant County, again, looking more 5 to 6 o'clock, and then Dallas 6 to 7. So the way this comes down is really I-35 West is around 5 to 6 o'clock. I-35 East is 6 to 7 o'clock. Able, essentially, yes. I mean, they have a decent, well, that's what we've been talking about here. We've been talking about how the modality of these storms is changing a little bit, because you can see this storm in Gatesville is kind of by itself. And so is the storm here near Stephenville, just north of Stephenville. So those storms are going to have a higher likelihood of possibly producing a tornado. Not so much the storm near Stephenville. This was moving due north. If I'm looking at storms for rotation, I'm probably looking more at the ones moving southwest to northeast, or due west. Due east. So not as concerned about tornadoes in that one, but the more of these storms go off by themselves, that brings in the better chance of tornadoes. So again, as we've been saying, from Fort Worth to Cleburne to Hillsborough, 5 to 6 o'clock for your severe weather threat there for timing of storms, 6 to 7 o'clock for Dallas, Waxahachie, Corsicana. Again, that's a very broad generalization. You can have storms that pop up ahead of time, that pop up there and move up that timeline, or again, storms can slow down it maybe later. But don't look at this as a strict timeline or anything. This is not, that kind of situation. So as these storms continue to move in, we are looking at, let me just kind of do a recap, and then we'll take a quick break, and I'll get ready to get in front of the green screen here. So we are looking at a severe thunderstorm watch until 10 p.m. We have storms already moving in from the southwest. The best timeline, I think, for the most active period for these storms, or at least when they will arrive, is from 5 to 6 o'clock for the I-35 West corridor, so from Fort Worth to Cleburne to Hillsborough, and then the I-45 corridor here closer to 6 or 7 o'clock from Dallas to Waxahachie to Corsicana. So that's what we're looking at in terms of the timing. We're going to take a quick break here, and Marcy, this should be, I would think that this might be the only complex, but I can't rule out a storm or two behind it. But this should be the majority of what we'll see tonight. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we return, I'll be in front of the green screen, and we will start our normal severe weather coverage. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Slowly fading in my mind. I find it hard to not give in. I don't know what it means, but there's a smile upon your face, and I see something shimmering in your eyes. And they say if you want to glimpse the future, you need space. And you said you'll put down your morning guns. Would you follow me to wonders? Take my hand and walk beside me in a world of thunder.
All right, I think we're good to go. I've been having some issues with the mics here, so I wanted to make sure that we were all set before I started talking and confusing everybody. But we have storms. We have more storms here, like we need any more at all. I mean, this is what we're looking at in terms of what we've been seeing. And of course, just a few minutes ago, we were over at the storm desk. I'm trying a different format here where, I want to try the storm desk and give you a little more lead time. And then we will transition over that to the green screen, which is what you're used to, which is what we're doing now. And that way you get the coverage that you're used to, but we also kind of have a little bit informal time to look ahead of it. But this is the complex of storms that we have right now. And so right here near from Granbury over towards Strawn, that's one complex of storms. That one moving up towards Parker County right now looks like that will avoid our area. And then from Glenrose down towards Gatesville, there's one storm moving into Somervell and Bosque counties right now, another moving into Gatesville. Something else I'll say is that I've had multiple people complaining about the audio on YouTube, but they say that the audio on Facebook is fine. So I'm not sure what is going on with YouTube. I'm not sure what the deal is there, but I'll have people that give very different information. A severe thunderstorm warning, there it is. So a new severe thunderstorm warning coming through right basically all through our area here. So that is until 5:45. So we talked about 5 to 6 o'clock in terms of when that would arrive from Cleburne down to Hillsborough, and looks like we're going to be just about on the money there. So you got to love it. So here's our complex of storms, this new severe thunderstorm warning that just came up here. And if you are signed up for Weather Call, then you would have just gotten a call there. So Weather Call is a service that I work with that you will get a phone call from me. You'll get a phone call. I just wanted to put that link out there. You'll get a phone call directly from me letting you know, hey, we are looking at a severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued for your area, or a tornado warning, or whatever the case is. If it's a watch, you'll get a text message, an email. You can customize that. We realize you don't want to be called for everything. Just call for what's important, right? But when you sign up for Weather Call, you'll get a call directly from my voice saying, hey, there's a warning for your location. So if you're signed up for Weather Call in this area, you got that call. And if you don't have a reliable way to get those calls, definitely do that. So if you've been part of the chat before, we've been talking a lot about the modalities of these storms, whether or not we're looking at a higher tornado risk. And a lot of that can depend on what kind of storms we're looking at here. So we're looking at more individual storms across our area. You can see three distinct kind of, almost a cluster here from north of Stephenville towards Granbury. One storm right here moving right into our area. and then one storm near Gatesville. Now you can see behind there from Hamilton counties down, I believe, towards Comanche. That is where we're looking at, or south of Comanche there. That's where we're looking at this flash flood warning. So in that area, they had plenty of heavy rain. If we get only individual storms and they move fairly quickly, that should mitigate the flood risk. However, what we're looking at here is they kind of tried to form this line. At this point, though, this is moving northeastward, so we're not going to see this solid line as we have seen it so far. We need to kind of watch what this does, because this could end up being a storm that goes off by itself that will increase your hail risk and increase your tornado risk as well. Just kind of adjust the radar there for a second. So here's our storm. This is going to be the one that we will be sitting with tonight. So this storm right here, this was been warned for 60 mile per hour winds and 1-inch hail. So kind of a base warning here. However, what I want to point out is that this storm is moving in we still have plenty of daytime heating. There is plenty of instability and plenty of humidity out there. I mean, you go outside today, you could feel it. The air was so soupy out there, so much instability, so much humidity, plenty of storm food here. Johnny, kind of like to storm in Granbury split from the top storm is now moving east. I'm not really sure what you're saying there, but it sounds like you're talking about, I mean, this storm, yeah, kind of split off and headed off into the north. Sometimes you'll do that. You'll have a storm and it kind of splits off to the left and goes off by itself. That is part of how we had one storm that moved east and then southeast. Of course, that was the storm last night that prompted that tornado warning, delayed the Ennis High School graduation, and then moving north here from Granbury on to basically south of Weatherford. That storm kind of split off here. So last night we had a second storm that went up through Johnson County and gave Midlothian its second hit in terms of hail. And, and that split off from storms down near Killeen. So that's going to happen sometimes. But the storm that's going to impact our area is right here in 45. Now, I need to set up my... stop making noise. So I've been having trouble keeping a consistent clock, so I just have one right in front of me. There we go. All right, so we're getting close to 5 o'clock here. So this is going to be about another 55 minutes here for this warning. So this will continue to move in. If you're in Cleburne, Hillsborough, Whitney, over towards Rio Vista, you are in that warning there. Also back in Bosque County, in Meridian, you're part of that warning as well. Let's take a look at a couple of things in this storm. We'll look at the velocity first, and we definitely have those stronger winds in the Bosque County area as that storm moves in. So, and if we look at the trends here, yeah, the pretty decent area of winds. I would say this almost looks to me like it came from a downburst or something, just the way that it's so focused. So yeah, we're definitely looking at some strong winds as a part of that storm. And then if we look for the vertically integrated liquid here, we'll probably see, yeah, we see those hail cores beginning to intensify in this storm. So this storm by itself, I think we're going to see it continue to intensify as it moves to the northeast. So right now, this storm is capable of 60 mile per hour winds and basically quarter-size hail. I think that will intensify as it moves to the northeast and moves into just continually more and more unstable air, more and more high dew points, all of this stuff. All of that is going to potentially be a factor with this storm as we go through the evening. I just want to take one more quick look. Yeah. So they're just talking about 1-inch hail and 60 mile per hour winds with that particular storm. So just to kind of give you a better orientation here, if you're in Hillsborough, Whitney, Blum, Rio Vista, Cleburne, Godley, back to Glenrose, down to Walnut Springs, Morgan, and Meridian there in Bosque County, you are under this severe thunderstorm warning. This is a storm capable of 60 plus mile per hour winds and hail of quarter-inch or greater. So that is the threat. That's kind of the threat assessment that you are looking at here. More people saying that they're having trouble with the audio on YouTube. I'm not sure what YouTube's deal is recently, but there's apparently with our streams in particular, I don't know if it's anybody else, but the audio is just nothing in my eye. Come on, man. So we had this severe thunderstorm watch until 10 o'clock tonight. The good news is that we're not looking at these storms hanging around too terribly late. I mean, they're coming in right around 5 o'clock, funny enough, right as we, said they would be. And so that is going to get them, I don't know what the deal is. I don't have a moderator right now, so I don't know what they're seeing. But I'm hearing that there's a lot of technical issues, and I don't know what that is, because I know that there was some talk yesterday about that, but let me see. I'm going to try to watch the stream over here, but yeah, I'm hearing a lot about glitching and things, and I don't know, because everything is the same on this end. So it's got to be the platforms. I don't know if YouTube and Facebook or what the deal is. I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, I don't know what's happening there, because when I'm looking at, everything looks fine on my end. I'm looking at some numbers here. Okay, so I'm hearing that there's some technical issues going on, but it doesn't look like it's on my end. So that's really strange. All right, so yeah, not really sure what the deal is there. Let's see. Let me check one more thing. Okay, that's going to be something different there. I'm just checking into this, because if we... Yeah, I'm getting a lot of mixed information. Okay, so Ryan, you're saying that it was your Starlink. Freezing up off and on, thought it was Starlink and Whitney. So now, okay, what I'm looking at down detector. If you're having issues and you're on Spectrum, let me know, because I'm seeing that Spectrum is now having a lot of problems. So I don't know if that's part of it, but if you're on Spectrum and you're having some issues, then that might be part of part of the problem there. Okay, Bob Harper, he said your screen keeps freezing up. You have Spectrum, so I think it's a Spectrum issue. I think that's what the problem is, because I just checked and Spectrum is having some issues. So not sure if that's it or not. I mean, it could even be, the amount of. It could even be the amount of, I don't know if the amount of lightning we're looking at in this storm. I mean, my Lord, it's the air is electric here. It's just crazy. So yeah, I'm not sure what the overlap is with Spectrum and the people that are having issues with the stream, but that's a possibility. But we have this storm here, and what you're noticing now, I want to bring your attention to this. So we're starting to see possibly some new development out ahead of this storm that could impact the storm as we go forward. Yeah, so AT&T is working fine. So yeah, we'll see what we find out on that. Hopefully, whatever the issues are, I would say, close out the stream, go back, maybe that'll fix it. But we're having more development here ahead of this, from Waxahachie back towards Blum there, ahead of this storm. So not too sure what that might end up doing with the storm overall. But I think we could very well see some more development ahead of time. So that will move your timeline up. I know everybody's been asking what time. As I said before when I was sitting at the desk, you can't treat this as it's going to get here at this time. and just be so rigid about that timeline because things happen. You know, you have new development, those kind of things, and so it really depends on what you're looking at there in terms of what you should expect. So here's the storm that we're watching right here in Bosque County. This is the one that has prompted this severe thunderstorm warning. And we have new development now going up ahead of that storm. And you get a broader view here, and it's still hanging on to this storm to the south. So still kind of trying to form a more kind of solid line here. We have this storm near Granbury. That one's all by itself. And then we have this storm in Bosque County, this one down towards Gatesville. That's moving due east towards the Waco area. So that's where that one is headed. And then, let's see, I'm hearing a report of thunder in Rice. That's interesting. I mean, there's not really anything near that area. So if there's thunder in Rice, I'm not sure what that's coming from. Now, it looks like we had one little lightning strike here near Italy. So not sure if that's coming from this, maybe some new development there. Interesting. What I'll tell you too is that I apologize, folks. I've got something in my eye that I cannot get rid of, and it stings terribly. I can't seem to have a normal evening here. I don't know what the deal is, but my gosh. So we have some new development here, and I mean, frankly, at this point, as unstable as the air is, I'm not terribly surprised that we might be looking at some new development. Yeah, so lots of reports of thunder in the eastern parts of Ellis County here. That is interesting to me. That's very interesting because, I mean, if we look at Ellis County, let's just zoom in here. Now you can see this new development, and this is a pretty new scan here, but yeah, we see this new development here, and already we're hearing loud, people are telling me there's loud thunder in those areas. And I can tell by the way that the viewer count is growing here, so I can always tell when you can hear the thunder there. But that is interesting. So I'm assuming that this area here, we're starting to get lightning and thunder from that. Let me actually look. Let's check this. What are we seeing here? I'm looking outside the studio here. I don't see anything here. Looks like we might be getting a light rain, but I haven't heard the thunder here at the studio. At least not at this point. So, not entirely sure what all we're looking at there. So, Brian, you're saying it's been loud thunder for about 30 minutes or so in Waxahachie. So yeah, I mean, right here in Ellis County, again, we're not seeing much, but there is so much instability in the air and so much humidity that it would not surprise me at all if we are looking at some new development coming in here that could be creating that loud thunder, that kind of thing, because apparently it's out there because I'm hearing a lot of reports of it. So that's interesting. But the storm at hand that we are watching, and if you pay attention here, now in Hill County, we got more new development here, lots of lightning and thunder there. This is going to be a loud, rowdy night. I can already tell that it's going to be a loud, rowdy, stormy night. Now, whether or not we kind of start working over the atmosphere in advance of that storm, that could cut off the chances of that storm intensifying too terribly much. But, you know, I'm not sure. We'll have to watch and see what that is going to end up doing. So we have the main storm here in Bosque County moving towards Hill and Johnson counties that prompted the severe thunderstorm warning. New development here, lots of lightning and thunder and increasing rain in northern parts of Hill County. That stretches on into Ellis County. We keep getting reports of lightning and thunder in different parts of our area. So the atmosphere is waking up and it's really starting to boom and bloom here. So that's what we're seeing across our area, just hearing lots of reports of thunder and all these kind of things all across our area. Let's see, Jay, light rain between Grandview and Maypearl. for about 20 minutes, really cooled off. Think this might be, I mean, you're probably looking at cooler air that is coming out of that storm. So anytime you have a storm like this, and we have seen some periodic downbursts or microbursts and things from these storms. So anytime you have those conditions, you have the possibility of that rain cooled air traveling from outside the storm there. So that is a distinct possibility, and that could be where you're getting some of this new development, as well as some of that light rain and some of those cooler winds that are coming out from under that. So Vicky, this is today. This is for today. Is that still saying 516? Because we. Oh, I see where it is. Okay. I updated it, but it didn't update the whole thing. Okay, that should, hopefully that fixes it. It updated the title. It didn't update the description. I don't know why. We made sure that the 17th was posted there. So this storm here, I do expect this storm to pretty well impact at least most of our area. I think that the majority of our area, probably 70 to 80% of us, at least, will see storms tonight. There might be a select few that don't see anything tonight, but I would be surprised if too many of you did not get any rain tonight, or at least part of one of these storms, because again we have the main storm here, and then we have all this new development that is going on in parts of Ellis, Johnson, and Hill counties. Nothing in Navarro County at this point. Hearing that there's a lot of thunder going on there and that sort of thing, but not seeing that here. Lindsay, does it look like it's splitting Mansfield and will be it's splitting and Mansfield would be spared? I think you might be looking at wishful thinking, because if this is continuing to move northeastward, I mean, it would carry it towards the Mansfield area. So, yeah, I don't think that, unfortunately, I don't think we're able to kind of move this thing away from that area. It's still going to be moving that direction. So Ben, you're asking about Waco and Burleson, but well, that's two very different areas. I mean, both Burleson and Waco have storms headed their way, and yes, hail will be possible with both of those storms. So hail is possible both in Waco and Burleson tonight as these storms move through. So that's the simplest way to answer that question. So these storms, as we've got this main severe storm moving in, let's check a couple of things here. Let me get the, let's see, let me get the, okay. All right, so first, yeah, we definitely do see increasing winds within that storm there. I want to look at the trends here, kind of see what that's doing. And yeah, I mean, you can see very clearly some of those brighter greens. So gusty winds moving in with this storm at this time. And Ben Craig, I can't tell you right now what size the hail is going to be. It really depends on how intense the storm is when it gets there. So not really seeing a ton of hail in this storm at this time. If anything, it looks like maybe those hail cores are kind of struggling to get a hold, and that must be a skipped frame or something, but it doesn't look like at this point that we're looking at any kind of really major hail at this time right now. So, yeah, not really too concerned about hail in this storm right now. Looks like it's mostly going to be a wind producer. So that will be a positive. If we can keep that storm weak enough to not produce too terribly much hail, hey, that's going to be overall a good thing. So we will see what that does as we go through the rest of the evening here. And somebody asking about the current dew point in Waxahachie. I mean, it's going to be at least, dew point's going to be at least, what, 76, 77 in Waxahachie right now. So that's probably what we're looking at. Another question about, how many rounds of storms. Right now, we just have the one round of storms that's moving in. I'm doubtful that we'll see anything behind this, but it's still possible. So I can't rule out more storms as we go through the night, but I don't think that anything after this initial wave will be as intense. I think this is going to work over the atmosphere pretty well, and then anything behind all of this would probably be less intense. So that's kind of what we're expecting right now. But we're still watching more development from Whitney on up to Waxahachie here up towards Ferris. More storms possibly trying to develop is all you need to know. So Emily, I mean, tornadoes are still possible tonight. So we're not really discounting anything in terms of these storms tonight. We could still possibly see some hail across, or some. We could still see the potential of a tornado, though. Right now, the tornado potential doesn't look very high in this area. So not seeing any kind of rotation right now. Not too concerned about tornadoes at the moment, but of course I'll let you know if that changes. So this is moving in, the main storm here, moving into Hill County, but we still have more development here. And you can see how far ahead of this we have these lightning strikes north of Hubbard, over towards Blooming Grove. So that's what we're seeing. We're seeing lightning all over this area. We're hearing about thunder all over this area. So it's really really intense out here. And so if you're in this area, if you can hear thunder, you're close enough to lightning to be concerned. So you will want to make sure that you are taking care of keeping yourself safe. Go indoors. Don't stay outside. Watch for this storm to come through. There is way too much lightning going on to be playing around with this. I mean, again, the storm is not really even here north of Hubbard near Blooming Grove, and you can already see those two lightning strikes there. So lots of lightning and thunder out there right now, well far out ahead of that storm. Light drizzle in Bardwell. So that, yeah, when we were getting precipitation out of all of this here, and it's not surprising, folks. I mean, the atmosphere, you step outside, it's very unstable, very wet out there, plenty of precipitation falling. So the severe thunderstorm warning that we are looking at in this particular area, we are looking at the severe thunderstorm warning until 5:45, so about another 35 minutes. Nathan, you're asking about this hook on the backside. That's not going to be a tornado producing situation. It's on the backside of the storm, not something to be worried about. Let's see, we've got a special weather statement just issued south of there. That's really the step down from a severe thunderstorm warning. So the severe thunderstorm warning we have here in parts of Bosque and Hill counties there, but down towards the south of there, that's where we have that special weather statement. That's going to be for parts of McLennan County. So that storm looks like it is weakening at this point. That was a much stronger storm on the other side of Gatesville. Looks like that is a weaker storm as it is now moving into parts of McLennan County. So we're getting a few questions about timing in Ellis County. The thing is, this main storm here, probably looking in the Ellis County area around 6 to 7 o'clock. Now, with that said, I can't guarantee that there won't be storms ahead of it. You can see all of this new development. So don't get too reliant on a timeline at this point, because there's lots of new development here. And Amanda, ETA for Mansfield. Yeah, we're looking at this storm probably being in the Mansfield area again between 6 and 7 o'clock is what I'll tell you as far as what I expect there. So I'm curious to see what the winds are doing in this storm here. Let's see. So yeah, west of Whitney, you can see the red growing here. So I would assume that that's probably a downburst as well. And you can see all of this progressing. So this could very well be outflow from that storm. So if this is all outflow, that would explain why we're getting some of that new development here that is picking up steam. But west of Whitney, looks like we could be looking at a little downburst or a microburst, that kind of thing. And then in our particular area here, west of or east of all of that, we're looking at cooler air moving in. That should help some, but I mean, the air is still very, very unstable here. So I'm not putting a lot of stock into whether cooler air is going to stabilize the atmosphere. We're too well locked and loaded here. Going back to a question here. Should we be concerned in a mobile home? Well, Lindsay, I don't know where you're located, so it's a little tough to give you too much specific advice there. Shelby, what does it look like in Grapevine? Nothing in Grapevine at this time, but as these storms get closer, then you may have a concern there. But the storms are a little too far away from the Grapevine area to really give you too much detailed information about what to expect. Let's see. Will Duncanville get the warning, get the storm? I mean, it could very well move into the Duncanville area. If it continues that northeast track, then it could very well impact the Duncanville area once it moves through Midlothian and those areas. Again, you're a fair ways away from it up in Duncanville, so we may have to kind of wait and see what this thing does. The storm continuing to move east here, but again, we continue to have little showers and thunderstorms that are developing out ahead of it, and lots of lightning in those. So this storm moving into Whitney now. Hillsborough will be the next under the gun for this storm. And what's interesting is I'm not really seeing this storm intensify at this point. It's kind of it's moving, it's doing its thing, but I'm just not seeing a strengthening trend rather on that storm. So let's look at this thing. Yeah, I mean, I'm not seeing that storm intensify much. And the storm moving towards Waco is weakening at this point. So who knows? We may actually see this thing kind of lose some steam here, as wild as that would be. I'm checking with one more thing here. So, I mean, yeah, I'm not looking at that storm really picking up steam too much. So it looks like it's just kind of staying below severity. I really wonder if some of this outflow, maybe that's kind of helping to stabilize the atmosphere ever so slightly. I mean, you can still see how much lightning is in this storm. So there's no getting away from that. There's no getting away from the heavy rain and the gusty winds and the very, very frequent lightning in that storm. We'll see what this does. We're already getting some rain here at the studio, so we're already getting rain in Johnson, Hill, and Ellis counties here. So we'll see what that does. And then, like I said, this storm down near Gatesville, between Gatesville and Waco, headed into McLennan County. I mean, that storm has weakened significantly over the last several minutes. Now, the storm in parts of Parker County here has not weakened much. That one is still very much alive, continuing to be quite intense there. But the storms that are moving into Hill County right now, Hill and Johnson counties, that particular one, I mean, it's kind of stayed stable. It's just not showing an intensifying trend here as it gets closer. And Jerry, it's too early to tell if you're going to get hail in Italy. We got to wait until that storm gets a little closer. But yes, plenty of lightning and thunder. You can see those are all like Rio Vista, going to be moving towards Cleburne, towards Itasca, towards Hillsborough, and then on east and north from there. But just the one severe thunderstorm warning right now, that goes until, for about another 25 minutes here, until 5:45. The severe thunderstorm watch goes on until 10. So trying to follow the chat here, it's acting a little bit odd, but just trying to catch up on that. And I know that there's a lot of folks who are hearing this storm, that are hearing some of this new development here across Ellis and Hill and Johnson counties, and kind of thinking, what in the world is headed our way? Well, we've got that storm that is severe warned, but it's not a severe storm at this point. Or at least to me, it doesn't look severe. I mean, we could be looking, this could really possibly be still see the lightning there, and I apologize if that's kind of distorting that, but it just wind-wise, it just does not look like a severe storm at this point. Mystic, power loss twice already on Lake Whitney and Bosque County. The storm is gnarly and rowdy. Lots of lightning, thunder, and wind. Sideways rains, no hail so far. So no hail reported in this storm at this point. Um, yeah, very dark clouds and lightning near Whitney. So the good news is that, yes, Taylor, we are looking at a low. I'm not counting tornadoes out yet. Fairly unlikely at this point, but I'm not going to discount, the low tornado risk in this storm. And to answer your question, Jerry, not seeing rotation with any of these storms at this time, at least not the storm in our particular area. And really, as we go forward, not really seeing any rotation near their Weatherford or near Waco right now. So not seeing any kind of rotation with this particular storm. And Renee, thank you so much for your Venmo donation. Greatly appreciated there. Now, I'm hearing that Hillsborough has Churro Fest going on, and I will tell you that if you're outdoors in Hillsborough, you want to be very, very careful because this particular storm is loaded with lightning. So even if it's not a severe thunderstorm, even if we lose that warning here, which we may very well lose that chance here in just a few minutes, but I will tell you that this particular storm, as it continues to move northeastward, is going to bring plenty of lightning, and that is dangerous enough to be concerned about that. Let's see. And Abel, do you think somebody with storm anxiety, do you think meteorology is a good path? I started out with storm anxiety. That actually was partially how I got my start in this. So if I'm any example, I would assume so. And there's plenty of other meteorologists. I'm not a meteorologist myself, of course, not certified, that kind of thing. But there are plenty of certified, bona fide meteorologists who have the same background, that they have storm anxiety as well. So just kind of keep that in mind. Let's see. Jason asking, am I coming to Polka Festival next? But I do hope to be there at Polka Festival there in the city of Venice. So I do know that I will be making sure to keep an eye on the skies there for the good folks that put that on. But I don't know what capacity I'll be there. So I hope to be present one way or the other because I don't think I've ever actually been to Polka Festival myself. So I do hope to be there. A few people asking about the tornado chances, and it's not, we're not looking at the tornado likelihood at this point. Not really concerned about that at this time. This storm here really doesn't even, it just looks just barely not severe at this time. So not really too concerned with that. Vanessa, several comments saying she can't hear. Not sure what's going on there. I know some have had some issues here. I've looked and I'm not really seeing a whole lot. Stephen, thank you so much for your Cash App donation. Greatly appreciated there. Okay, so we might be looking at, it could be a spectrum issue. I checked just a few moments ago, and Down Detector, which tends to, it kind of tracks different technical issues there. You can report those things. That is, it reported a pretty huge spike in spectrum issues. So if you have spectrum, then it's very possible that you could be dealing with an issue there. Okay, so hearing several people that went out and got back into the stream, that kind of thing, that's IT 101, right? You turn it off, turn it on again. Maybe that'll work, but we'll have to see. And so for our area right now, I know they're asking about the Hillsborough area. So for Hillsborough, we do have that storm coming in. It's not producing very large hail, very strong winds, from what I can tell at this time. Not really looking at severe conditions here. The storm has been kind of staying steady. It hasn't really intensified much. However, there is plenty of lightning locked in this thing, so don't take this as a situation where, oh, hey, it's not, there's not a tornado in it, so it's fine. Still a very dangerous storm, so you don't want to be outdoors with this storm as it's moving through. So just some sporadic issues on the stream. Some are fine, and some are having issues. I'm not really sure what is going on. I honestly would not be too terribly surprised if maybe it's something to do, and I can't verify this by any stretch of the imagination, but it may very well be something to do with the amount of lightning. Maybe with this, I'm just not sure. But some are saying the stream is absolutely fine. Some are saying they can't get it to work. Not sure what the deal is there, but it seems fairly sporadic and inconsistent as far as providers, and I assume it's sporadic across types of phones and those kind of things too. So you just have to make sure that your app is updated and that kind of thing. So this particular storm, we'll zoom in on this. I know we got a lot of folks at a festival there in Hillsboro, so this storm is moving in from the west, and it is packed full of lightning and thunder. This storm is going to be moving eastward at about, 30 to 35? It says 45 miles per hour, so it's picked up speed. So this storm moving pretty quickly now, 45 miles per hour. So it's going to continue to lock and load as it moves into, it's moving into the Whitney area now, going to be moving into Hillsboro very soon. And the National Weather Service is keeping this severe thunderstorm warning in place. It's got about another 20 minutes or so, but it hasn't looked too intense to me at this point. So just to look at this, it looks like we could be looking at some pockets of stronger winds, but not seeing anything major at this time. And then I do think we'll see some small hail in this, possibly closer to Morgan and then north of Whitney, but I'm not seeing any kind of really noticeable intensity. It does look like it's slowly intensifying here, but I would say that there's the possibility, at least, of hail that will continue with this storm. So, and Zach, I have not heard any reports of hail at this time. So no one's told me that. I've heard, gusty winds, heavy rain, that kind of thing. And then the storm is moving into Hillsboro shortly. So I don't really have a time for you. It's actively moving into the Hillsboro area. And then I would imagine that Hillsboro will probably be done with this storm by the time we get to the next hour or two. So this storm will hang around a little while, but then you'll be cleared on the back side of it probably by 7 o'clock or so, if not maybe a little earlier. Amber, what will the hail be for the Ennis area? Should we be prepared for large hail again? You're way too far away from Italy to know or from Ennis to know what the hail forecast is there. It depends on what it looks like when it gets there. This is the kind of storm where you can't really tell too far out exactly what it's going to do. It could continue this modest intensification that it's doing now. It could quickly weaken. So it just depends on what you see. It depends on what you see farther out is what I mean. The trend with this storm has been that it hasn't really intensified much. If that continues, then probably not much hail out of this storm as it goes through the Ennis area. But it's far enough away, we do have to wait a little bit and kind of see what this storm is going to do as it moves through our area into areas that have had quite a bit of intensity, but temperatures have dropped quite a bit, and that may help to limit the instability for this particular storm. So let's put this back into motion here, kind of get a broader view so that we can all see where the storm is going. It's moving east-northeast now at about 45 miles per hour. So once this is out of here, I mean, for the most part, I think we are done. There could be some showers behind it, but it does look like this storm is headed out of that area now. This storm, Becky, you're asking about if it'll hit the North Grove area of Waxahachie. I do expect this storm to probably impact Waxahachie as it gets closer here over the next hour or so. So no hail reported on Lake Whitney, just insane wind and torrential rain. Yeah, so stronger winds are possible, but not seeing any hail out of this storm yet. So that severe thunderstorm warning, they are keeping that in place, and I think that could be because they are seeing some of those downbursts or microbursts in this storm. Those can easily reach above 58 miles per hour in terms of those wind speeds. And then let's see here, the Eureka area. Yeah, it's too far away from Eureka to really say too much in detail there. And let's see, Courtney, you're saying you can't hear what I'm saying, and so you're in your car. I would say make sure that the car radio isn't interfering with your phone. That might be part of that there. Wendy, is it going to get any worse at Scarborough Renaissance Festival? So, I mean, it's still a ways away from Scarborough Renaissance. Is the way I would see, at least until 45 minutes or so, at least another 45 minutes or so from that area. So just kind of keep that in mind, where it's not to Scarborough Renaissance Festival yet, but as the storm approaches, yes, it will become more intense. Yeah, I'm not. Again, I know that there's been some spotty issues here. Spectrum, like I say, they did report, there have been multiple reports of some issues there with Spectrum. Um, Also, Xfinity by Comcast, so not sure. And Bradley, thank you so much for the Venmo donation. Greatly appreciated there. So rain in Blooming Grove, yes. I mean, we have some showers and thunderstorms that have developed out ahead of this. So getting a heavy shower there in parts of Ennis, also south of Italy there over towards Blooming Grove and Avalon. So yes, we are getting some heavier rain there. This particular storm to me looks to be weakening. And so, I mean, it looks to me like this one may be struggling to maintain some intensity here. Yep. So we had a brief period where we're seeing that storm start to trend upward in terms of that hail expectation, but it does look like it's weakening here. And a quick question about the storm in Waco. The storm in Waco is still there, but it has weakened quite a bit. So it's not as intense as it was, but we are still seeing a storm that could bring a lot of lightning, heavy rain, that kind of thing to the Waco area. So just keep that in mind. These storms, although they don't look severe at this time, I know this one is severe warned for about another 12 minutes or so. None of these look severe, but that does not mean they're not dangerous. There's a lot of lightning in these storms. That alone is enough. And I can't tell you, how quickly or not you're going to get lightning. I can't tell you exactly when or, that's going to hit, that kind of thing. Because when you have lightning happen, that's all I got. I can't tell you where it's going to hit or not. So that's just the kind of the way that goes. And thank you, Wes, for your Venmo donation. Greatly appreciated there. Just trying to catch up to some comments here. See a couple of questions. So folks asking how much longer for Whitney. I would say probably the next half hour, I think. So now keep in mind too, if is it cutting out, I am doing some pausing here while I read. So that doesn't necessarily mean it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to, that it's pausing. I'm taking a pause myself to read these comments. So just, keep that in mind too. So as far as the Whitney area, I know that Whitney, you're getting absolutely slammed with the storm right now. I would say in the Whitney area, you're probably done with this in the next half hour or so. I would think that's going to be, it shouldn't be too terribly much longer. The warning dropped to a watch on your weather app, but it's getting louder outside. So, Courtney, I'm not sure where you are. Let's see. No severe thunderstorm warnings have been canceled here. So still looking at the severe thunderstorm warning in this particular area. This is the only warning we have. So if you're in this yellow box, then you are included in that severe thunderstorm warning that goes until 5:45 here. If you are not included in that box, then you are not under a severe thunderstorm warning. You're probably still just under a watch at this time. Several people asking for the weather cat. The thing is, if the weather cat wouldn't walk on the computer, and he does that intentionally, He does that so that I will pay attention to him and not work. Unfortunately, the weather cat is too disruptive to, to handle doing that. So, weather cat, if he would cooperate better, he might be in here. But unfortunately, he's causing too many problems with the stream to be in here more consistently. So Shannon, thank you so much for the Cash App donation. Greatly, greatly appreciated there. So this storm, I mean, this thing has been making a lot of noise. It's been making its way northeastward, but the storm itself looks to be weakening here. It's not holding on to intensity the way that maybe I thought it would. And while I say that here, let's take a look at the winds in the Whitney area. Okay, so we do now have the winds are picking up with this storm. So we haven't really seen much of a hail issue, but we are now dealing with increasing winds moving out of the Whitney area. So it's heading east outside of Whitney, heading towards Hillsborough. So strong winds in this storm, especially south of Hillsborough here. So keep that in mind. That is what we're looking at. Let's see. Okay, just checking some messages that are coming in. But we see the gusty winds picking up near Whitney right now. So those could be severe winds. Those could be 40 to 50 plus mile per hour winds in Whitney. So just kind of bear in mind that, we're looking at those increasing winds here. We're not really looking at much of a hail threat at this time. I don't think we've even had confirmation of hail anywhere at this time. But we are looking at now increasing winds of that storm moving out of Whitney. So let's get back to the reflectivity here. So here's the winds that we're seeing. This part of the storm here, we're seeing, and you can kind of see that bow shape there in that red echo. Moving towards Hillsborough as it's going to continue to move on to the east at it was advertised about 45 miles per hour. So that would make this storm move very quickly. I'm a little skeptical of that speed because it seems like it's been in Whitney for a while now. I don't think we're moving at 45 miles per hour with this storm. It just doesn't look like doesn't seem like it's working that quickly. And Lisa, yes, we are on YouTube. So if you're having trouble with the Facebook feed, go check out our YouTube channel under South Metro Weather. And I've heard people say that it's better quality over there. So you might check that out. This storm continues to fall here in Whitney here, and lots of lightning and thunder. So this is going to be a very loud storm from Rio Vista to Blum down towards Whitney, moving into Gulson. So a very powerful storm there. It's going to continue to move on to the northeast. We have another storm picking up steam from Milford over towards Blooming Grove and Frost there. So that storm looks to be just kind of moving slowly northward. So Rusty, you're saying my audio output volume is too low. I've heard several tell me they can hear it fine. So that's debatable. So this particular storm, the good news is you're clear in Meridian, clear in Clifton. So in Bosque County, you're pretty much clearing out. And once this storm gets out of here, we should be done. As far as the severe weather, at least, I can't say that you won't get a little shower on the backside of all of this. But I will tell you that as far as the severe weather is concerned, sorry, I got things itching me here. As far as the severe weather is concerned with this, or the severe weather threat at least, does look like we will be able to avoid that on the backside of these storms. Now, this is what we're looking at. So these are straight line winds moving out of Whitney. We have seen these intensifying. If we take a look at this, you can see that those winds starting to move towards the Hillsborough area. Those are intensifying at this time. And I do think that we could see severe winds, so 50 to 60 plus mile per hour winds moving towards Hillsborough in the next several minutes. So in the next 10 to 15 minutes or so, I think that's going to be where we will see those winds moving into the Hillsborough area. I know that there's a festival going on there. At this time, this doesn't look particularly damaging, but if we're seeing this trend continue and those winds continue to pick up steam, those could turn into damaging straight line winds as they approach the Hillsborough area. So if you are in that area, please pay very close attention to this storm. And we'll go back over to the reflectivity, which I know is what you're used to seeing. But this storm, I mean, you can see the gust front right there. So as this part of the storm continues to move eastward towards the Hillsborough area, that is where we are looking at the probability of increasing wind speeds with this particular storm. It could very well bring severe winds, some damaging straight line winds to the Hillsborough area in the next 10 to 15 minutes or so. And that would line up with, I mean, you can see the end of the warning here is right near Hillsborough. So we will see if they issue a new severe thunderstorm warning with this storm. I will tell you that so far tonight, things have not been as intense maybe as we thought. Definitely not as intense as they were last night. Last night's storm, that was a supercell thunderstorm that was all by itself, and that could cause a lot of problems. So yeah, if you're in Hillsborough, you're at, I don't know if that, is that an outdoor festival? I'm assuming so. So, Michael, you're asking about Ferris. You're a little too far away for us to know for sure what that's going to do by that area. So, we will see what that does. You can see, of course, outside of these storms. So you can see this all the way into Kaufman County, down into parts of northern Navarro County, southern Ellis County. So here's a warning that runs until 6:45 here. So this is quite a large warning. So what's interesting about this is this warning essentially goes for this whole line here. You can see how this is all kind of congealed into a line, and we're starting to see winds increase west of Hillsborough. So if that trend continues across the rest of that line, and we see this thing charge westward, eastward rather, from the west, then that could very well intensify or increase rather the severe weather threat as we go forward. But this severe thunderstorm warning going all the way to Waxahachie and Palmer, including Ennis, Corsicana, down to Groesbeck here. So a large area included in this severe thunderstorm warning. It seems to me the National Weather Service is still expecting this storm to intensify as this is all moving eastward. So we are seeing evidence of that here west of Hillsborough with those increasing wind speeds. We'll take a look at the hail threat here. The hail threat isn't that great. So looks like as far as a large hail is concerned, we're really not that worried. But if we look at this farther east, we could be looking at winds picking up and reaching that severe level there of 58 plus miles per hour. Okay, so yeah, Churrofest is so it is outdoors in the Hillsborough area. So yeah, folks saying they just got weather calls. So if you are subscribed to Weather Call, you just got a call from me, and you're in this warning. You just got a phone call from me. Now I'm just north of this line, so I'm not included in that warning. So I didn't get a call. But if you are included in this area, you just got a phone call saying, hey, this is Kevin Crouch with Weather Call. You're under a severe thunderstorm warning, and to tune in and get more information. But it's a great service to have. It's very reliable. We've only had really very few issues with that service, and seems like each time I think we got an explanation for that. But it's been a great service so far. It's something that we definitely take pride in having. And we want to make sure that you are prepared. So if you don't have a reliable way to get warnings, I'm not talking about sirens, I'm not talking about apps that struggle to figure out your location, I'm not talking about services that tell you it's somewhere in the county. We don't do county-wide warnings anymore. We haven't since 2008. So you don't need to be dealing with those kind of unreliable, unclear services. Make sure that you have Weather Call, which is a much more reliable service. So this is the new severe thunderstorm warning that we are looking for. That's where Dr. Sabrina, or Dr. Sabrina, you're saying that you don't get the calls. Wonder if you sign up with the right service. So if you sign up for Weather Call, you'll be able to log in. Now, if you haven't been in a warning, you wouldn't get the call, but if you log into your account with Weather Call, you can see all of that information. The old, so the this, I think the National Weather Service is expecting that line to continue to intensify as it moves eastward. And yeah, we can see that. So you see the winds that picked up west of Hillsborough. Well, we're starting to see that drag southward a little bit. So I think we're going to see this particular line get organized, and this is going to probably start the increased risk of severe weather. Now, at this point, I'm not looking at much of a tornado threat with these storms. Not thinking severe weather is really going to be a part of this whole thing. Now, as we go on forward, south of Waxahachie mostly, really, again, in this box. So from Waxahachie down towards Waco, this line here, I think we're going to see it continue to intensify as it moves eastward. You can almost kind of see a little bit of a bow shape starting to take shape there, and I think that's what we're going to see as we go forward. Love that service. It's saved my family once already, and now it's a must. Well, I appreciate hearing that. April, great to hear the positive response on Weather Call. Amanda is saying the wind's insane here in Hillsborough. Yeah, I believe it for sure, because the Hillsborough area, you do have those increasing winds. I believe it for sure, because the Hillsborough area, you do have those increasing winds across that area there. It's going to be pretty intense while it moves through. And I'm curious now. They're saying this thing is moving east at 45 miles per hour. I just have trouble believing that. I mean, it's moving, but it's been in Whitney for too long. In order for it to be moving that fast, I would think it wouldn't be in Whitney that long, but it's just been hanging around there, and seems like it hasn't moved quickly out of there at all. So they are clocking this thing, or at least advertising it as moving east at 45 miles per hour. Not sure it's going to really be that fast. I don't think it's going to be moving that quickly. Kimberly, what direction is it moving? As it shows on radar, that is moving east northeast. So moving into Hillsborough now, moving into the Waco area, starting to get close to southern Ellis County here. Now, of course, we do have this storm here too. Looks like that's lifting a little more northward here. So in Italy towards Forreston, towards Bardwell, eventually towards Ennis as well. And then that's not the main line here, that's just part of it. The main line is to the west. So this is our main line here. Once you're done with this, you're done with severe weather for the night. That kind of takes out your severe weather threat. If we broaden this out here, well, that doesn't help any. Okay, there we go. You can see the storm that we were watching to our west through the Stephenville area. That moved northward, now headed towards Decatur. That thing is racing up towards Oklahoma. That thing's out of here. And then new development in Dallas and Tarrant counties here. Doesn't look severe or anything like that. This is the line we're watching. So this thing has struggled to get organized, but now it's starting to come together a little bit more. So that is why they issued this new severe thunderstorm warning that does go until, what did we say, 6:30? Let's see. Yeah, 6:45. That's close. So more reports of glitches and things. Yeah, I had to get out of YouTube a couple of times, or get out of Facebook a couple of times. So yeah, that's kind of unfortunately been the trend here. So that's what we've been looking at. So the Whitney area, report of quarter-size hail. So quarter-size hail is going to be kind of baseline for a severe thunderstorm. So it sounds like there was some hail, maybe baseline severe hail, quarter-size, 1 inch in diameter. But aside from that, does not sound like we have much of a hail concern here. This is going to be mostly a wind threat. Now I know that there's folks asking about the Ferris area and Palmer and Ennis. It's a little ways away from there, but I will tell you, from Palmer to Ennis down to Corsicana, you'll probably get a piece, at least, of this storm on that northern side. Sounds like YouTube more audio issues here. So just so now OBS. So Matt, tell me if you hear something because OBS is starting to give me some issues now. On our end now, we've been having reports of issues all night. We haven't had any issues natively with the stream itself, but now we're starting to have some. So we're not sure what's going on there, but seems like there's some very sporadic internet issues going on across the board here. Looks like we're fine here. I'm trying to get back, trying to get into the internet app here just in case we need that later on, and it's giving me some issues too. That is wild. So it seems like there's just it's telling me wrong password, but that's not correct. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but that is wild. Just some sporadic issues. Okay, let me just check. Apparently Domino's is having issues, so if you have pizza, it's not a good night for that. Frontier having some problems, increasing issues. X having some issues. Yeah, not sure what all's happening there, but we'll have to keep an eye on this. But so if we have any technical problems, we apologize. It seems like there's just across different platforms everywhere, just random problems. Yeah, not sure what's going on there. But this is our storm. We have this severe thunderstorm warning until about 6:45 for this severe thunderstorm warning. This one, winds are increasing. So hail isn't really a major concern with this storm. At this point, it is more a wind risk. So damaging winds are a greater risk with this particular storm right now. So keep that in mind that yesterday this was a hail risk. Today we're looking at more of a wind concern with this particular storm. We'll look at the velocity and you can see more gusty winds coming together from Lacey Lakeview through Weston Abbott on up to Hillsborough, on up towards Italy and Carl's Corner there. So we are looking at some issues there. Let me pull up the, yeah, we're still not really looking at much of a hail threat here. So the hail threat really has not substantiated here across our area. So we've been fortunate in that regard. However, as this continues to move eastward, that could change. This line has been trying to get organized here. And if we look at this, yeah, you can see the winds are, those increased winds are starting to kind of spread out here. So we will see what is going on with that storm as it continues to move eastward. Yeah, you can definitely see the winds coming together there, and that's going to be straight line winds. I don't see rotation at this time. It's straight line winds that we are looking at in this particular storm. All of this is moving eastward. And the warning clocks it at about 45 miles per hour. I'm skeptical of that information. So, you know, I'm doubting. I'm doubtful that we are, yeah, there's some thunder. Okay, I can hear it at the studio now. I'm doubtful that we're going to see much of a tornado risk out of this. I'm doubtful we're going to see a big hail risk out of this. I just think that we're going to be looking at a gust front issue. That's kind of what we're seeing here. You can already see, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, that bow shape here. That bow shape, that is what you want to see as all of this continues to move eastward through our area, through the rest of this severe thunderstorm warning. If you're behind this storm, your severe weather threat is over for tonight. If you're ahead of this storm, you need to pay attention to this very closely. Be prepared for strong winds out of this storm. Be prepared for a lot of lightning, very heavy rain as well. Courtney Clark reporting that people are getting under the underpass where you are in Hillsborough. And that is one thing you absolutely do not want to do. You do not want to park under an overpass. And I know that it's convenient for people. It's convenient for them. It's extremely inconvenient and potentially dangerous for everybody else. Not that some folks out there care about anybody else, but it's just a matter of fact. that it can cause a lot of problems there. So please, please, please take a moment and think of somebody else, or at least do your best, but do not park under the overpass when you're trying to get through a storm. Just pull over, that kind of thing. We're not looking at hail. There's not really any reason to get under an underpass at this point, or under an overpass rather, because there's no hail that we have seen in the storm, or at least not major hail. We have probably some small hail here, but it's not enough hail to cause major damage. Let's see. Whitney reports of roof and awning damage on Jefferson Street. So that's going to be evidence of those increasing winds that we've been talking about, and that's a report from Emergency Management in Hill County. So reports of awning and roof damage on Jefferson Street in Whitney. So that's coming in from the National Weather Service here just a few minutes ago. And that's where we're seeing, again, those straight line winds. We do not have any kind of rotation here, no reports of tornadoes, no suspicions of tornadoes at this point, all straight line winds. I know March 8th, people still contend to this day that there was a tornado in that storm. Didn't happen. We were looking at downburst winds, microburst winds, straight line winds, that kind of thing. There are some anomalies there, here and there where it doesn't look like straight line winds, but really it looks like that was probably the epicenter of where the winds, they first go down. You have to understand that where a microburst or a downburst starts, the winds are moving down out of the cloud, and then they move out, right? So if it doesn't look like it was moving out, if it looks like everything just kind of got smushed, well, those winds were moving straight down out of the cloud. That's how those things work. So this storm looks to stay south of Dallas County. That question coming in from YouTube. Looks like it's going to stay south of Dallas County at this point. Mostly just southern half of Ellis County, parts of Hill County, over to eventually Navarro County, over to McLennan and Limestone counties there. So that is where we see this storm. And if we put this into motion, kind of broaden the view here, this is what we see. Now, we do see new development here, really kind of additional development along this corridor here ahead of the storm. So that's going to be southern Ellis County, northern Navarro County. There's a new little area development here, that moving northward. And this is in advance of this main line, which does look like it could be intensifying right now. Definitely intensifying the winds. The winds are the main concern here. So if you're behind this storm, you want to give a little bit of time for this storm to get out of there and kind of move out and give it some space. But it does look like this storm is overall, just generally, going to be on a weakening or an intensifying trend as it pushes east, but there's not anything behind it. So once the storm is out of there, you might have a little bit of rain here, southern Bosque County, a little bit of shower there, but we're not seeing anything behind it. So anything behind it here, there are some storms way down, looks like down west of Killeen, but I'm not really expecting much from those. We'll keep an eye on that as we go through the rest of the night, but at the moment, I'm not really that concerned about that for our particular area. I'm doubtful they can make that trip. But what we do have in our area is this storm, this line here, and we have been watching the winds in this storm that have been picking up, and we've seen reports, like I said, of damage in Whitney from that storm. Still not seeing much of a hail threat. Could still be some small hail in parts of this area, but really not seeing too much. But the winds continue to pick up here. So if anything, it looks like the winds are just staying consistent now. I'm not really sure that they're intensifying at this time, but it does look like those winds are, let's see. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like the winds are intensifying at this time, just staying steady, but still, gusty winds moving through Hillsborough, moving into southern and eastern parts of Hill County, eventually moving into western Navarro County. Put that back into motion there for you. So that's where we stand with this. Lots of thunder in Waxahachie by the movie theater. Yeah, we've got enough storms in the area. That's all starting to move northward. So this will be moving north into Waxahachie here before too long. And this, if there's any area that has a flood risk, it could be southern Ellis County, because we continue to see this heavy rain that's just slowly moving through. And then obviously once this storm blows through, I mean, when you're behind it, you're done. But at the moment, it doesn't really look like we have much of this getting out of here quickly. So we could be looking at some increasing flood issues in southern Ellis County right now, because it really does just look like it's continuing to just rain heavy throughout all of that area. Okay, so yeah, unfortunately that festival there in Hillsborough probably getting hit pretty hard at this time, at the Trail Festival. Yeah, so unfortunately it does look like the the festival there in Hillsborough is getting hit pretty hard, getting slammed by this storm. And again, it's not a hail producer at this time. If there is any hail, it's going to be fairly small. But it does look like gusty winds are going to be the main kind of concern with this. Dodie, you're saying it got really windy in Venus. Well, I mean, you still got winds that are coming off of this storm. So even though you're not in the heaviest part of the storm, you can still get those outflow winds. Yeah, so yeah, just pouring rain in Hillsborough. Yeah, there's going to be heavy rain, lightning, thunder. There's going to be gusty winds in Hillsborough, but nothing particularly catastrophic at this point. I mean, this is not the kind of storm that's going to blow a town away or anything, but it can still do some damage with those strong winds. I think it was mentioned earlier, we saw the report earlier from emergency management where there was some roof and awning damage there in Venus, very characteristic of straight line winds there. So that's the concern in that area, and I would not be surprised if we might see more of that in Hill County as that gust front, this storm, continues to move eastward. Let's see, light rain in Itasca. The sun's out so in Itasca right now, that storm clearing out. So you're saying you're already seeing the sun there. Are we clearing out the clouds that quick behind this storm? Let me take a look here. Can't really see visible satellite. Let me see, what can I pull up here? No, I want you to give me... Okay. No, doesn't look like the clouds are clearing out that quickly. So, I mean, you're saying the sun's out in Itasca. I'm not really sure if that's the case. But let's see, lots of thunder downpour in Italy, power flashing there. See the sun coming out in Venus. Well, I guess that's possible. I guess, I mean, there could be enough of a clearing here. The satellite I'm looking at could be a little off. Heavy showers in Itasca with a big rainbow there. Interesting. So we're clearing out the clouds right behind this storm system. Power flashes in Avalon. I think when you say power flash, I'm sure you mean the power itself is going on and off. I doubt you mean power flashes in, the green flash in the distance is characteristic of tornadoes. So just want to make sure I understand you there. Let me get back on. The comments are coming real quick. Let me. Okay, so Jamie, power out over towards Scarborough Renaissance Festival there. So what I'll tell you there is I think somebody was asking about the Red Oak area. It's mostly south of Red Oak. I mean, you can see there's some lightning and thunder there in the Red Oak area. But as this continues to move eastward, you're going to have some showers and thunderstorms there in Red Oak, but not the heaviest part of this storm. You'll at least get to miss out on that. Okay, lost power in Avalon. So yeah, there's going to be some power outages with this storm. Unfortunately, see, especially with the velocity view, how much lightning is spread out all over this area. The winds continue in this storm. That doesn't look terribly intense to me. And then if we look at the vertically integrated liquid, yeah, I'm not seeing much in terms of a hail threat. Now that's an old map. It's about 15 minutes old here. So that vertically integrated liquid it kind of lags behind, unfortunately. So I'm not seeing, there we go, there's an update. So if anything, if there's any area that has hail right now, west of Corsicana there, north of Hubbard, kind of towards the Mertens area there, that's where you could possibly see some small hail there, but I'm not really seeing much. That severe thunderstorm warning has been cut back significantly here. So you can see, here's that warning. So that warning has been moved away from Waxahachie there. So much of Ellis County moved out of that warning now, including Ennis, Palmer, Waxahachie. That has been significantly drawn to the part of the storm that could become severe. At this point, it just doesn't look very intense. I will tell you, Matt and I were talking about this earlier, and man, oh man, the atmosphere today was just locked and loaded. I mean, anything could happen, but I think we might have been saved by maybe some losing power and, those kinds of things. But the good news is that once this storm moves out, once it's out of there, it's out of there. It's done. So no issues. Once this storm moves through and clears your area, I'm still a bit concerned about maybe some flooding issues in southern Ellis County. There's been a lot of heavy rain there for a while now. So I would not be shocked if we are seeing, some flooding issues occurring in southern Ellis County from Italy down towards Milford, that area. There's been a lot of heavy rain falling for quite some time in southern Ellis County. So that could possibly be a concern. Nash on FM55 getting lots of sideways rain and aggressive lightning. Yeah, so that's what I'm talking about. That whole area from Italy really on towards Ennis there, all of that having some very intense conditions right now. So let's see. Still having issues with the feed in Ennis, cutting in and out. Yeah, it's just weird because we had some issues here at the studio, but that was only one moment where we had real issues with the. What's interesting here is if you look at Down Detector, we're getting pretty recent issues with Spectrum, now with Frontier, now Google Fiber is having some issues. So it's almost like one by one, we're seeing some of these internet providers starting to have some problems. So if you're having issues with the stream and you're on a Wi-Fi connection or an internet connection, you're not imagining things. It does look like there seems to be some kinds of issues that are slowly spreading throughout the internet world there, internet service providing world. Now, Verizon Fios looks like there were some issues earlier, but those have been resolved. Not much for AT&T or Verizon, so everything looks fine there. But it's just interesting. Feel like I've been seeing a new one listed each time I look here. So not sure what's going on there, but if you're having issues with the stream, only for a brief time was it our technology and our equipment here. The rest of that has been sporadic, and it's been hard to find one provider or another whoever's been having those problems. But that's just been the nature of it tonight. So here's our storm. If there's going to be a severe storm, it's going to be this one, and we still have some gusty winds on the leading edge of that storm, moving towards Hubbard now. It's not. It is severe warned at this time. It doesn't look terribly intense. When I say that, I mean it doesn't look like damaging winds, damaging hail. What I will say, we'll get back over to the velocity here and see if that gust front is. It's still there. You can see the red here. So that's going to be the wind moving eastward towards the Hubbard area. Some of those right around Blooming Grove as well. But we're not seeing those get particularly intense overall. So I'm not seeing anything, catastrophic or anything like that. And especially if we look at the hail, again, like I said, towards the Blooming Grove area, there might be some small hail there. But I mean, that's going to be about it. Okay, well, there's an update. So yeah, east of Corsicana, excuse me, west of Corsicana, east of Hubbard. That's where we look. We could be looking at some small hail, where you see the kind of that orange and red. So that's possible, but I mean, not the major hail that we at least thought was possible with this storm. But we are still looking at some gusty winds moving into the Hubbard area. That will make an impression there, but it's not anything that is particularly intense at this time. So yeah, sounds like the sun is coming out behind these storms. So once you are cleared out here, once those storms have moved east of your area, you're good to go. You're done for the night. So that's the good news here is we're going to be done with this stuff fairly quickly. Fairly quickly here. So I mean, we're not going to be dealing with storms overnight tonight. It's not going to be a really late night. And that will be quite nice there. So thank you, Michael, for your Venmo donation. Greatly appreciate that. Hearing there's some flickering lights in Waxahachie. Had issues with shuttering on phone with AT&T. Switched to YouTube on Starlink and no issues. So yeah, I mean, where we're
sorry.
Okay, dinner delivery here. Gotta find a spot on my very busy desk to put it. Okay, all right. Looking forward to eating that. So what we have here is storms where we have gusty winds, but I mean it's moving eastward, and immediately following the storms, sounds like we're already clearing the skies out. And then already seeing some, already seeing some sun out there. So that's great. Put this into motion here. So yeah, storms are moving west to east generally. Now I will tell you the heavier rain in Ellis County kind of moving northward a little bit. Some of this activity kind of lifting northward a little bit, but the majority of this, the kind of the whole complex by itself, moving west to east. So this storm, I would say this is a marginally severe storm. We could be looking at winds of 50 to 60 miles per hour. Could be looking at some very small hail in some isolated areas. But aside from that, really not looking at anything else. And once you're behind this storm, we're done. We're done with what we're seeing there. So this continues to be just kind of a marginal severe storm here, not near what it could have been. We will have to watch some of this activity down towards Llano, west of Killeen area there. Looks like that storm's probably weakening, but we'll keep an eye on all of that just in case somehow that one wants to make its way in. But I'm doubtful at this time. I don't think we're going to have to deal with that very much. Let's see. Back on comments. The bottom just dropped out in Waxahachie off FM 66. Yeah, so you're dealing with this area of rain here. So that is headed my direction. So we'll get very heavy rain here at the studio here in just a few moments. But you can see the dry air behind it, or the drier air. Matt, what are the dew points doing behind this system? Okay, so okay, so yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound like we're losing a whole lot of humidity behind this storm system, but perhaps maybe losing some humidity. So I mean, I'll take all that we can get, but there is drier air that is pushing this complex out of here fairly quickly. And I will say, I mean, they clocked this thing at 45 miles per hour. I do think it has picked up speed since that point. But yeah, it looks like we're, dew points are in the 60s behind this storm. So it does look like drier air, not dry air, but drier air is starting to filter in. We're getting wind speeds picking up here at the studio. So looks like we're getting this part of the storm here and getting part of that gust front that's kind of developed. So that's picking up at the studio here. We'll get a quick shot of some heavy rain, and then we'll go on from there. Vanessa saying that all the tents at the Churro Festival are pretty much a wreck. I hate to hear that. That's the push and pull of having a festival in the spring in North Texas. You kind of just have to get stuck with the spring weather here, and it's either great weather because it's spring or it's that. So I mean, this is just kind of the situation you get stuck with in May in Texas. I mean, how many times have we heard Mayfest in Fort Worth get a massive severe storm, and you kind of go, yeah, well, this would be a great time to do it, but it's also May, so I mean, you can't really be too big a skeptic of whether or not you're going to get storms. Yeah, Megan Lee, Fillmore, yeah, winds just got crazy at North Grove. I'm in that area, Waxahachie, so yep. Let's see. And Lou, my dinner probably will get a little cold, but it's part of the job. Wes, I'm using Radar Omega. I love this program. I'm happy to work with them, and that is the program that I'm using. So Radar Omega, I highly recommend it. It's great for my workload and that kind of thing. So if you're looking to track storms, Radar Omega, pretty good for me. It's worked pretty well. And Ashley, yes, after this passes, we are done for the night. So things will be cleared out here. Is the storm now clear at Scarborough Fair? Yes, April, things are clearing out at Scarborough Renaissance Festival. I will tell you, I was in contact with them, and Scarborough Renaissance Festival, it got windy there. There might have been some lightning and thunder and that kind of thing, but if everyone was able to find cover, Scarborough Renaissance Festival was probably fine out there. So I'm happy to partner with them and inform them about the weather of what we're looking at. But for the most part, things weren't that terrible out at Scarborough. So might have been loud, might have been rocky there for a little while, but no large hail, no extreme winds out there. So a question from YouTube asking, how fast is the wind blowing? That really depends. Depends on where you're at. I'm not sure where you're referencing there. And Vinny, are we going to have a tornado? No tornadoes out of this system, at least not right now. It doesn't look like the tornado threat is really anything to be concerned about at this point. We do have still those gusty winds, though. So as we look at this, you can see the gusty winds moving into western parts of Navarro County here. So moving into Hubbard, moving towards Blooming Grove and Frost, that's where we're going to see those increased winds with this storm. So in Hubbard, Dawson, western portions of Navarro County, Navarro Mills Lake there, that's what we're looking at in terms of where we could see those winds. And really this severe thunderstorm warning, it's been there for the winds. We've really not seen, I've barely had any reports, any confirmation at least, or informed reports. I'll say, woo, that was, all right. Storm had something to say. That was a big bolt of lightning right in front of me. Not right in front of me, but I could see it out the window here. So I'm not sure what they're asking on Facebook. I think that might be a bot or something. I'm not sure what that question is. Let's see. Off 287, the wind is whipping. There's rain, but the sun is shining and there's a rainbow. Yeah, so I'm hearing there's a rainbow coming out right behind the rain here. So, a rainbow at Scarborough Renaissance Festival, you can't argue with that. So the sun is coming through, and yeah, it's brightening up pretty quickly here. It's funny. The brighter it gets, the heavier this storm is. It's getting lighter here at the studio as the wind is picking up. So it's like this storm is giving a nice big finale right before it wraps up. But you can see here that drier air is pushing this system out. So that is going to pick up speed, but that's going to increase the winds here in the Hubbard area towards Mertens. Let's take a look at those winds again, because there's a couple of things I want to look at. First, yeah, we're seeing winds on the back side of this in Waxahachie down to Italy. So that's all the winds that are coming in on the backside of this system. So that's part of what is pushing all of this out of here, and part of the reason that in Waxahachie, I mean, I'm looking at it right now, that normally by the time that storm's rolling out, there's not much happening there, but we have this area of increased winds moving through Waxahachie right now, following this storm up. So as the storm is wrapping up, you're going to get that quick push of strong winds as this thing is getting out of here. But the sun is coming out. I can see the sun now, but that's going to make a fantastic rainbow right on the backside of this storm. So send us any of those pictures that you get of that rainbow here, and we would love to see those. You can see the winds increasing right as we get to Navarro Mills Lake here, just south of Frost. Winds are picking up from Mount Calm to Hubbard, up to Navarro Mills Lake, moving towards Dawson here. So this severe thunderstorm warning continues for about another 23 minutes here, until 6:45. So it is still in effect, and we will watch that continue to move eastward here. That is the main concern, is the winds. We're not looking at much hail here. We'll take a look at that again. Yeah, not really seeing much hail. There could be some small hail in the Blooming Grove area, but really that's going to be about it. I'm not expecting much more than that from this storm. It's just not been much of a hail problem overall. Looks like in the Blooming Grove area, could be looking at maybe a little bit of a downburst there, just some localized strong winds. But these are straight line winds here from Mount Calm up to Navarro Mills Lake. That's going to continue to move eastward here. We put this into motion. You can see that, and you can see that we're getting those winds beginning to pick up. So just keep in mind a couple of things here as this moves out of Waxahachie, as this moves through Ellis County. There's going to be some pretty wild winds on the backside of this storm system. And if anybody that knows weather in the comments wants to help me, I am blanking on that term of what those winds are on the backside of the storm. I am blanking on that. I can't think of it. I don't think so, because that's going to be, yeah, that's going to be around a mesocyclone. Yeah, so I mean it's cooler air that develops. I want to say cold pool, but I don't think that's right. Is it? See, this is where you lose me, because I'm just going to geek out on this thing. Hold on. Let me see here. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Cold pools spread readily away from the rain. Event along the surface has a moving gust front. When the gust front passes, the cold pools cause an increased wind speed and a sudden drop in specific humidity and in air temperature. Yeah, so okay, cold. So I was right. I was getting it conflated with something else in my head. So, as Jamie Campbell would say, nerd alert. But there you go. So yeah, a cold pool developing here on the backside of this, gust front here. So, and Jack's, yeah, somebody mentioned rear flank downdraft, but that's on the backside of a mesocyclone. That's on the backside of rotation where a tornado or that kind of thing is happening. So it's not rear flank downdraft. We're looking more at a cold pool. So that cold pool developing here kind of on the backside of this storm where we've had some of those gust fronts develop, but I'm pretty sure that's what's causing this gust of wind on the backside of that storm. And I mean, if we compare it, you can see that all those gusty winds are behind the storm. So it's all this dry air, this cooler air that's pushing all of this out. So very clear there, a bit of a cold pool developing back behind all of this activity. But the gust front, the possibly severe side of this storm, continues to be down south of that area. So from Blooming Grove down on towards Mount Calm. So this is the storm we're looking at. So this is where we see, could be looking at some hail starting to develop there, a little bit of a hail core north of Blooming Grove and then near Hubbard there. So this area could be picking up steam, could be intensifying as it moves eastward, and it's moving fairly quickly. So this severe thunderstorm warning goes for about another 20 minutes now. They'll be able to cancel this area, parts of Hill County. I mean, it still goes all the way back to Hillsborough. You're done there. Back behind this, I mean, you're completely done. Wow, that is incredible. Yeah, the sun is out here at the studio. So I mean, that cold pool hits you. That those gusty winds right on the backside of that storm, and then it's just gone. that is wow. That is crazy. I love when that happens. And again, guys, I mean, when you're watching this stream, you're gonna have to deal with me being an absolute nerd. So that's just part of the fun here at South Metro Weather. Is I'm going to geek out without warning. So if you're getting very strong winds in Ellis County, like we talked about, probably looks like a cold pull that's developing on the backside of this. Gusty winds pushing all of this out. Ooh, felt that thunderclap, but still some thunder on the backside of this. So don't get too ready to go outside. To give that storm a little bit of time to kind of drop here. Lizzie, located in Waxahachie, so kind of in the North Grove area of Waxahachie. Winds are crazy right now at the North Side RV. Yeah, so that's near my area. Lucy Mod, yeah, temperature 74 degrees. Yeah, I've got 70 degrees here at the studio. So definitely that drop in temperature. I mean, we were in the 80s here when this thing started. So yeah, very noticeable drop in temperatures where that cold pool is. And then, this is going to be this is going to be our storm that could still become a severe thunderstorm. It's been struggling to intensify here so far, but where we have, you can see the red here, you can see the curvature. So behind that, there's nothing. So just to reassure everyone that we'll take a broader view here. If we, let's see. Right in here. So south of Brownwood here, that's where we can see a storm that is making its way northeastward. I don't have a lot of confidence that that's going to make it to our area. Still far, far away. I'll keep an eye on it just in case. The models did kind of pitch the idea of a later storm moving through, so we'll keep an eye on that tonight, but at the moment I'm not really looking at too much detail. Wes, you're saying that National Weather Service offers a free Skywarn Storm Spotter class. Don't have to be a spotter to attend. Not to take away from Kevin's excellent work, I'm sure he would agree the information is key. Yeah, it's Skywarn is definitely important. Those are usually in the winter and early spring, and Skywarn is important because without spotters out in the field, educated, properly trained spotters, I can't see everything outside of the studio. So those storm spotters are very important to my work because you guys, those spotters allow me to get the ground truth that I need to get better information. So Megan Burrow, so the wind will die down after the storm passes. Well, that's the thing. You're going to get a lot of wind on the back side of the storm, but yes, once it calms down, you're done for tonight. So once that storm moves through and clears out, you're done. We're done for the night. Like I say, I'll keep an eye on this storm that's way out towards Brady, but at this moment, I'm not really concerned about that one. We'll have to see if that even can make it close to here. We'll see what we can do. So let's get back into Navarro County. There's a couple of things here. You can see number one, this area from Kearns on over north of Corsicana. That's one band of heavy rain that's lifting northward. Could be some small hail in that one. And then this is what's left of that storm that is now getting pushed out pretty quickly by some cooler, drier air here. So the problem is that can increase the wind speed there. And let me see, getting a picture here. Oh yeah, real nice rainbow over Tyertown in Waxahachie. So great pictures there. Great pictures there from Tyertown and Waxahachie. Best place to get any kind of vehicle maintenance there. So oil change, tire change, those kinds of things. Definitely go to Tyertown and Waxahachie. They're going to be the best that there is. So let's take another look at the winds here. Okay. Yeah, we're still seeing some gusty winds here. Maybe not as extensive or as expansive as what I'll say, but definitely seeing winds continue to pick up in this storm right around Dawson. Going to continue on probably south of Corsicana at this time. Not seeing a lot of wind in that band north of Corsicana right now, but if we look at the hail, there could be some small hail in that storm as it moves north of Corsicana there. So heavy rain here, lots of lightning in that band too. Lots of lightning in Hubbard and Mount Calm with that storm. But overall, I mean, it's just not, we're not looking at the kind of severe weather situation that we thought we could have been. Matt and I were talking about it. We were like, this is, this does not look good at all. But this is clearing out, going to continue to move on to the east. This storm, this is the only severe thunderstorm warning we have in our area right now, and that will be trimmed back. So we will see Hillsborough and West and Abbott get cleared out of that fairly soon. The National Weather Service will adjust that, and we will see what that does as we go into the next several minutes, because this storm, it's trying to hang on, but it's just not very well organized. Gusty winds continue near Hubbard and Dawson, but it looks like the dry air is just kind of catching up to this thing and just shoving it eastward. So that could be kind of limiting what it can do. It may be really disrupting its ability to organize as it goes. So we'll see what that ends up doing, but the severe thunderstorm warning does continue until 6:45. So even though this storm doesn't itself look as intense, we do still have that warning in place. So Amber, you're asking about southern Navarro County. I mean, it's going to be about the same. So Richland, Wortham area here, we do have that storm making its way. So there is a marginally severe storm headed that direction here in the next several minutes. And so you will want to be indoors until that storm passes. I will say it'll be in Wortham and Richland probably in the next, half hour or so. Getting reports of a lot of wind in Alma. So yeah, you've got Alma, Rice area, you've got that gust front headed your way. Really, you've got this storm that's lifting that direction, and then you'll be getting that cold pull we've been talking about, those cooler winds on the backside of that storm making its way in as well. So just kind of keep that in mind that, things might be almost out of there. But with that said, you're going to get some gusty winds even on the backside of it. So it's interesting. I mean, you were getting gusty winds in the storms in Hubbard and Dawson, but it's on the backside of it in Waxahachie where the very gusty winds are blowing through. So it's right over I-45 right now. So Ferris, Palmer, Ennis, you're probably getting those gusty winds here, and all of that is pushing this to the east. And something that I've noticed about these storms in Navarro County is they tend to slow down. And to this day, I'm really not sure why, but I will tell you this, all of this activity is moving fairly quickly. So we'll see how quickly this moves out of Navarro County. But there's two things you're looking at. One, of course, is the storm. So the severe thunderstorm warning is updated here. So let's broaden this out. And let's see. Okay, so Ellis Hill and McLennan, so they've trimmed this back dramatically. So here's what's left of that severe thunderstorm warning. They'll probably issue another one for the rest of Navarro County into Limestone County here, Freestone rather, Limestone in the old warning. But they've trimmed this back quite a bit. So Ellis County, Hill County, you're cleared from that severe thunderstorm warning. Still some heavy rain in the Hubbard area over towards Dawson, but this is going to continue to move eastward. And this cooler, drier air is just shoving all of this stuff out, evacuating it out of our area. And so once it is out of there, once you are done, you're done. Like I say, unless that storm down in the Killeen area or northwest of there, unless that can make it up here, which I'm still doubtful. But yeah, behind all of this, I don't see anything else in our area. If that storm is able to make it up to our area, I will post those updates. But at the moment, not really seeing anything that is going to follow this storm system once this thing gets out of here. Charlotte, you're going to see the sun come out there in Ennis. So behind this storm, the sun will come out. You'll see a pretty epic rainbow. We've gotten pictures already of the rainbow that's come through. Let's see if I can get pictures from the Facebook page here. Yeah, sounds like we got some really neat pictures, and we'll see if we can post one or two of those. Yeah, we'll go back through and we'll check those out. Oh yeah, Tiffany Kelly, the got some lightning with the. Anytime you get lightning in a picture with something, that's just an added bonus, right? So we'll see if we can post a few of those this evening, maybe tomorrow. And yeah, sun coming out in Ennis. So yeah, on the back side of this, that sun's going to be coming out pretty quickly. And you know, you may say, well, it's still cloudy there. Well, keep in mind the sun is dropping lower and lower. So even though the clouds are on top of you, you're getting the sun behind it. Perfect angle to make really nice rainbow right behind this storm. So yeah, nice rainbow east of North Grove. So yeah, from Waxahachie, I'm sure you've got really great views, and more messages coming in now. Just some great views of that rainbow throughout the area. So Waxahachie, Midlothian. Hearing there's a double rainbow there, so that's cool. So the storm continues here. We continue to have a severe thunderstorm warning for about another 7 minutes here. And I mean, once this is out of here, this is out of here. But this storm still kind of hanging on. We'll see what this is going to do. And really, Navarro County is just kind of center stage here. Yeah, so the winds continue to, yeah, just east of Dawson. So moving towards Richland now. So towards Richland, towards Oak Valley, may miss Oak Valley there. But yeah, these, you can see how it's kind of condensing here. So I think this storm is probably going to continue to weaken here over the next several minutes. Again, all of that cool, dry air just rushing this out of here. So, you know, it's interesting. I would be concerned about rotation here, but I don't. I don't think that's in a rain-free base. Looks like that's just right in the center of the storm. So, yeah, I mean, that's going to be right in the core of the storm. So I would normally say that looks like a couplet, but it almost looks like maybe just a really persistent downburst or something like that. So I don't think we're looking at rotation there. So if you're looking at the reds and greens and going, what's going on there? I don't think that's rotation. I think that's going to be a little bit more, I mean, probably some straight line winds, that kind of thing. Can still be some damaging winds there. I would say, you know, winds of 50 to 60, maybe closer to 65 or 70 miles per hour in some places in that storm. But the winds are going to be the primary concern there. And we could honestly, if we put this into motion, we could honestly see that storm starting to die out. Because sometimes when you see those increased winds, that's all of the energy getting squashed out of that storm. So if we've got sinking air coming in, which looks like that may be the case, that's starting to flatten that storm out. All that energy goes down and out. So could be looking at that storm starting a pretty interesting weakening trend as it goes through southern Navarro County. Now these storms here, I'll tell you, moving through Rice and towards Currens, we are looking at lots of lightning there and probably some small hail in with the very heavy rain. So that is that's kind of what we're paying attention to. And Nathan Seward, could you take a very quick look at the storms way southwest? So we did look at those. Doesn't look like that'll reach our area, but I will take a look at that, you know, later on and let you know if that's going to approach us. But at the moment, doesn't look like it is. But heavy rain in the Currens area over to Rice. These are not severe at this point, but there could be some small hail there. So I'll be curious to see if the National Weather Service issues another severe thunderstorm warning. There's a small area there where we could be looking at some increased winds. I would say, honestly, at this point, they will probably kill that severe thunderstorm warning. They may do a small one there, but I do think that storm in particular is starting a weakening trend, and then all of this will be lifting northward into, northeastward rather, into parts of Henderson and Kaufman counties. So all of this is going to start wrapping up here. I know in Rice and Currens and Alma, it probably doesn't feel like it at this point because you're getting very heavy rain, lots of lightning and thunder. But you can see that those winds starting to advance ahead of it. And so as that continues to go on, I think behind it, we're going to start to see this, excuse me, start to, what's the word I'm looking for? Start to deteriorate there. And then as all of this continues to move eastward, I mean, we may see this get reorganized by the time it gets into Kaufman, Van Zandt, and Henderson counties. But for Navarro County, I think we're going to see things kind of start to get a little less organized here. Looking like the National Weather Service is talking about a watch probably east of us at this point. Let's see if I can get that pulled up here. Always takes a little while for that to populate here. So, wind damage, large hail, isolated tornadoes, expected to develop across parts of the Arctic early this evening. Yeah, so east and northeast of us for the watch. So the National Weather Service is already looking that direction. But this is what we have left all across Navarro County here. But here's the thing. Back towards Blooming Grove, everything's going to be clearing out there. Once these storms get out of there, it's going to clear out quick. Once all of this dry air moves in and kind of shoves all of this eastward, things are going to clear out very quickly. Now, you can see in northern Freestone County, Henderson County here, Van Zandt and Kaufman counties, everything's starting to light up because we have this outflow that is going out ahead of all this. And that's part of the reason this stuff is going to be gradually weakening here. But that dry air is going to be pushing it out of there. And we will then be cleared out of all of this stuff. So, the severe thunderstorm warning here will be allowed to expire. Does not look like a new warning will be issued here. So showers and thunderstorms will continue here for Navarro County. There's going to be a loud storm, very loud, and then behind it you can expect some gusty winds as the heavy rain moves out here. But it does look like everything is starting to shift much more eastward. You can see the outflow as it makes its way, kind of that new development there, and as the dry air starts to roll up all of this here, and it's going to make it move more quickly out to the east. So Corsicana, you're going to get some lightning, thunder, some heavy rain here, as a lot of this is just kind of starting to come together, but it will be moving to the east, and looks like the severe weather threat, at least for the moment, has deteriorated. I think that's what the National Weather Service is showing here. We continue to see this area of winds kind of shrink here. Other than that, not really seeing crazy winds with this. Again, on the back side of it, you'll get a quick shot of some gusty winds with the sun coming out. And then the rest of this, we'll take a look at the hail probabilities here. Again, some of this activity between Rice and Kearns, there might be some small hail with that, but that's going to be about it. I mean, this storm system, I think, is becoming much less organized. What we're going to see here, if we look at the bigger picture, all of this is progressing eastward, and that those winds are moving eastward. So I think the National Weather Service is already talking about a new watch for the Arklatex area. So I think we're going to see much of this progress eastward and reorganize east of this area probably. But the severe weather threat, I think, for our area is wrapped up. So I'm going to wrap up live coverage here, and I will continue to post new information throughout the evening if needed. If those storms far to the southwest look like they're going to make it here, we'll talk then. But otherwise, we will have more updates on the page until everything is done. And then